harvesting this corn today. I just got out of the hardware store. I had an order to do this morning that is complete. Now I can plant some corn. I think there's a chance of rain today. Today was supposed to be good, but I think this morning when I woke up, no, actually last night when I went to bed, they put a chance of rain in the forecast. Let's see, is it still here? Yes, partly sunny, scattered showers with isolated thunderstorms this afternoon. Highs around 80, southeast winds 5 to 10. Chance of rain 40%. And there is a chance of rain, oh hell, for the next, looks like 8 days. Look at that. So 40 today, 40 tomorrow, 60 Saturday, 70 Sunday, 60% Monday, 60% Tuesday, 40 Wednesday, 50 Thursday. Okay, that's good. We need some rain. I just don't want a whole lot of rain on this tilled ground. If we get a heavy packing rain on this tilled ground, that stuff goes together just like concrete, and then that corn will not come through. And we do not have any rotary hose like we did back in the day. And a rotary hoe, for those that don't know, is this machine with a bunch of spiked wheels on it that you just run over top of the ground, and it breaks that crust up and enables then the corn or the soybeans to break through. So back in the day when we were doing a lot of tillage, everybody had a rotary hoe on the farm because you were going to use it. I guess I will go in this back small field and knock this one out first. Oh, I should have washed windows before I got started. Oh well, too late now. Did I take a picture of that? I think I did. 35.8. Mentioned what a badass that brush cutter is on the front of my skid steer. Yes, well, here's an example of it right here. I cut a whole lot of those pine trees. Cutting this back, now I've got wood in my field. But oh yes, looks much better. It's just badass, I tell you. That thing, it will cut some stuff up. Now I've got to get in with a chainsaw and cut some of these limbs that are hanging in the field here. And I can get another 20 feet here if I can cut some of these limbs out of the way. But this one here especially, that limb is growing out 30 feet. No, hell, yeah, 30 feet from that tree. Look at that. That's a hell of a limb there. Okay, enough of that. You get my point. Let's see if we can find the corn in here. Right there. All right, that's about where I want it. Where's the next one? What the hell? Oh, right there. Okay, we're good. I've got about an acre and a half left. I want to check to make sure I've got enough corn in here. Oh yeah, I got enough. Beautiful, beautiful. I've got the corn planter home. I'm gonna back it in the shop here and dump some boxes. Get it cleaned up. I don't have a whole lot of corn left in there. Yeah, it's less than a bag. But look at this. We've got some storms building on the other side of the river there. I hear a little bit of thunder. They've just kind of popped up out of nowhere. So this would be great timing as long as we don't get a flood of rain on top of it. But I have got one bag of corn left. I guess I better get that out of the back of my truck and put that inside so it doesn't get wet.
An hour. For your safety, stay inside and away from windows until the storm passes. Large hail and strong winds can easily shatter glass, causing injury. If you're caught outside, take shelter in a sturdy building or a hardtop car. Take shelter now. Once again, a severe thunderstorm warning continues for parts of Lancaster, Northumberland, Richmond, and Westmoreland counties until 3:45 p.m. this afternoon. Bear in mind, this storm has the potential for quarter-size hail and wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. Stay tuned for additional updates. I'm meteorologist Derek Height.
And there you go. That's the Virginia Weather Station. Those counties are right across the river from us. So I think the storm is on its way. I looked at the radar, and the forecast radar puts it going right to the south of us, or maybe right on the edge of us. So maybe we'll miss it, maybe not. Time will tell. We've only got 30 minutes to 45 minutes according to that before it rolls through. So we'll see. Let me start getting this corn out of here. what the heck? Don't break it up. Hey, what I was gonna say is, while I'm doing this, for those that don't know how an air planner operates, let me show you how it operates. Let's see, what can I, all right. I can set you up on here. Bow! So this is a vacuum, I say air planner. It's a vacuum planter. So there is a fan inside of here that spins via hydraulics. So hydraulic hoses from the tractor spins through here, it spins this fan. You can adjust how fast that fan spins based on how much hydraulic fluid you send through it. So you can adjust that from the tractor. There's also an adjustment here. So that fan creates a vacuum along this tube right here, and you see all of these hoses coming off of this tube going down to the planter. So it creates that vacuum effect all the way across there for each unit. When you get over here, this hose connects to this unit right here. Inside of here is a plate that turns, okay? So you can see this plate spins around. It's a chain-driven mechanism right here that attaches on this other side, and that's what spins it, okay? There's different plates for different seeds that you put in here. So I have the corn plate in here right now. So what happens, the corn falls down in there. Let me get a few kernels. So this hopper is full of corn. It feeds, gravity feeds down through here. So just picture this plate up against there. All that corn is up against the plate. Vacuum seal here. You see this rubber seal? Maybe you can't. Let me tilt the camera down a little bit more. So there's a rubber seal around here. This hose goes in here, creates this vacuum seal against this plate. So as this plate is turning, since there's a vacuum seal, each one of these cells will fill up with a kernel of corn. And that vacuum holds that kernel in place. And then as it spins around, there's a brush here. You see this brush? As it spins around, it gets to the top, and that's where it loses its vacuum pressure, and then it drops, and that kernel then drops down through here into the ground, and then from there it plants it. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense in the way I explained it. So kernel of corn on each side there, the vacuum holding that suction in until it reaches the top as this thing is turning, reaches the top, breaks vacuum pressure, drops that kernel down. If it doesn't drop it down, if there's still a little bit of pressure, this brush is going to brush it. It's going to brush it off right there before it comes back around. So then drops the kernel of corn down, comes back around, hits that vacuum pressure, sucks another kernel of corn on there, comes around and just keeps repeating the process. Sucks it up against there just like that. And that's how a vacuum planter works. So it doesn't really matter what size kernels you have. Most kernels go in there nicely. You get good singulation from this vacuum planter versus the old planters that we used to run with that had a finger pickup. They weren't quite as accurate. And way back in the day, we had what were called a plate planter, and you had to use a separate plate based on the seed size that you had, and that those were not very accurate at all. I do have a separate plate for soybeans. You want more soybeans per acre than corn as far as the seeds go, so there's a separate plate with a whole bunch more holes. And then this is a standard corn plate. There's a smaller corn plate as well. Hello. Thank goodness my aunt cannot hear. As I was explaining this to you, I heard a voice and I look up and she's coming over here to the shop to talk to me. Well, she cannot hear real well, so she did not hear me talking to myself. If she'd have heard that, she would have said, yep, he's going crazy. Actually, she's the one going crazy, but don't tell her I said that. No, I'm just kidding. So I shut down the camera and acted like I was being normal when she turned the corner. But she came to tell me that farmer's daughter killed a possum last night and it was still laying in the yard. Farmer's daughter is not going to move stuff like that. She'll kill it, but she ain't doing nothing else with it. So I went over there and got it out of the yard, threw it out in the field so it wouldn't draw the flies and stink up to high heavens. And so when I went out to do that, I could feel the raindrops coming down. So there are a few raindrops out there. Okay, it is tough to get all of this corn out of these boxes without opening them up. And if you don't get it all out, the mice somehow find a way in here and start chewing on this mess and create a nest in that bottom of that seed box. And then when you go to pull it out next year, you think you have it ready to go, and nope, there's a nest in there. I'm at somewhat of a dilemma. While I was planting corn and had the auto steer on, I was trying to catch up on emails and news, and I got an email from my local farm service agency. Of course, they're touting the new government program called ECAP, where they're paying farmers X amount of dollars per acre based on last year's acres. Because of the economy that we're in, I can't remember the last time I got any welfare from the government. Used to be every year you got a check from the government. Well, I've kind of stopped going in and reporting my acreage because I just hate taking welfare from the government. And that's what it is. Don't let anybody tell you any differently. It is federal government welfare, the farm program payments that we get. There's no other word for it. And so I really don't like the government knowing what I'm doing, so I have not been into my local FSA office in a number of years to report my acreage. They just don't need to know about it. Now, I know the government already knows because I have crop insurance, and that's a federal program, and I report my acreage to crop insurance, and I don't know how much they share with the federal government. But I feel like the government knows less if I don't go into the actual FSA office and report my acreage. So now, you know, do I take the money? Yeah, the money would be nice. And if it hadn't have been for the snow that we had this year, yeah, I would need that money, and I would probably be in there in a heartbeat. But and not only that, not only the ECAP program, but apparently our county is one of 18 in Maryland that has been approved for disaster assistance because of the drought we experienced last year. I don't know what kind of money is involved there. And whether it's worth my time to fill out all of that paperwork, but I'm not sure what exactly I have to do for this ECAP program, since I did not report my acreage to the FSA. In years past, if there was a program that came about and you hadn't reported your acreage, I'm just making a damn mess with this corn, then you could report it the following year, but then there was a fee involved of like $25 per farm or per field or something, and they kind of went out and looked at your fields to see if they could see any residue from the year before to prove that yes, what you said you planted, you actually planted. So I don't know if that's the case this year, because you have until August 15th, I believe it is, to sign up. And hell, by that time, you've already got this year's crop in the field and growing, and it would be difficult to find any residue from last year. Now, because the crop insurance program is a federal program, they could probably just contact my crop insurance agent and get the report from them on the acreage that I reported to them. So they say how easy this program is to apply for, but then when you read their list of forms that you have to have on file with them, it's like 7 different forms you've got to have. So is it really that easy? Especially since I haven't been reporting to begin with. Let me look at this email again. Just got a notice on my phone. Real-time precipitation alert. Rain starting within 15 minutes. Closest lightning strike is within 10 miles. What the hell? So what was, this email from Farm Service Agency. I will need, okay, so they're going to give me $30.69 an acre for wheat so I don't know if the wheat, I assume it's the winter wheat I planted in the fall of 23 for harvest last year, 2024. Corn, $42.91 an acre. And soybeans, $29.76 an acre. So yeah, that's decent money that you're talking about. But is it worth it? You know, you lay down with the devil. No, if you lay down with the dog, you're going to get fleas, right? That's the saying. Lay down with the dog, you're going to get fleas. And I hate to do this. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different forms. The Form AD 2047, Customer Data Worksheet. Form CCC 901, Member Information for Legal Entities, if applicable. Well, that's applicable because I am an LLC. Form CCC 902, Farm Operating Plan for an Individual or Legal Entity. Farm Operating Plan. What is that? I'm going to farm this year. That's my farm operating plan. I'm going to plant corn, soybeans, wheat like I always do. I don't know. Form CCC 943, 75% of average gross income from farming, ranching, or forestry certification, if applicable. If applicable, what does that even mean? Isn't that applicable for everybody? You have to certify that 75% of your average gross income is from farming, ranching, or forestry. AD 1026, highly erodible land conservation and wetland conservation certification. I hate dealing with soil conservation. And that's where you have to go to get that form. We have no highly erodible land down here. It's all flat ground. It floods. The water doesn't get off of it very easily. And then Form SF3881, direct deposit form. So I think this is now a requirement. The federal government doesn't send checks out. It goes directly into your bank account. And I hate giving my bank account information out. Give me the damn check. Let me go to the bank. Keeps the tellers employed. And then, of course, there's the new... Oh no, the CCC 943 is a new form apparently. So those are all of the forms that they need before they're going to give me the first dollar. So I'm really torn about this. I was watching One Lonely Farmer the other night, and he was talking about this program as well, and there was something that he was talking about, some type of certification or form that was a little more difficult to get done. Gosh, I don't remember what it was now. Well, I'm getting old. I can't remember it all. I'm gonna make another damn mess here. My bucket's getting full. But I had a conversation, oh gosh, it was 25 years ago. I took an ag leadership class. It was a 2-year class that was offered in Maryland for farmers and anybody related to the farm industry and how to be a leader. And so one of these other farmers in the class, one night we were sitting at the bar and talking about agriculture, and we got on the subject of government payments. And we both kind of agreed, darn it, this corn just won't come out of here. We both agreed that the government just needs to get out of agriculture and let the chips fall where they fall. If I can't make it without the government subsidies, then so be it. Let me fail. And this other guy, he was thinking the same thing I was, is the government just needs to get out of agriculture altogether and let market forces take place. You know, I have no government backing at the hardware store. There's no programs for hardware stores that if we have a bad year, if the spring is bad because it rains the entire month of April, and so nobody's coming in to buy mulch and plants, the government's not coming in to bail me out. So why is the government bailing farmers out? Well, the reason they're doing that is because we have an unwritten policy of cheap food in this country. The government wants cheap food or affordable food, whatever you want to call it. So in order to do that, the government has to be involved. Well, I think the government just needs to get out of the business of agriculture, and if I'm the weak one, then I will fold up shop. I will go out of business. If I'm not, but my neighbor's the weak one, you know, then so be it. But these guys, there's a lot of guys, I'm sure, that will not survive this year or would not have survived without this government payment. Because the ag industry in general, the ag economy is just horrible right now. After last year's pricing, or actually the last couple of years, pricing for commodities, the drought that we had last year, and it was a number of places around the country that experienced the drought. All right, there's a little slight gap in this unit between the box and the seed unit that the corn likes to come out when you start dumping it. So that's why I'm making a mess. So yeah, without this government money, there would be guys going out of business. And I think that's what should happen. If you've gotten to the point where you've gotten so big and you've got so much debt carrying you that you rely on the government money to keep you going, that shouldn't be. That's just my opinion. But back to this taking the money for the ECAP, as other farmers have said, and I have said this before as well. In order to stay competitive with my fellow farmers, with my neighboring farms, who are probably going to take the money, in order for me to stay competitive, I've got to take the money as well. Now, as I said, I don't need it. The snowstorms saved my butt this year. And I can get by without the government money, but then then my neighbor takes it and he jumps ahead of me and he can pay more for land rent than I can because he took the money and I didn't. That's the way it works, unfortunately. You get in bed with dogs, you're going to get fleas. And I don't like to sleep with dogs. All right, I think I've got all the corn out of there. It probably needs a bath, but it's not going to get that today. And I think, well, I can't check the wheels because the planter is down, but I think all the bearings were okay. I didn't need to change anything there. I can take this to the barn and unhook it and get that tractor in the barn in case we do get some thunderstorms rolling through here with hail. I do like to have the tractors in the barn so we don't get that hail damage on them. There is a lot of rumbling happening, but not a lot of rain. Not at the moment, anyway. Let me look at my weather radar map and see what it's showing. Oh yeah, it's filled in a little bit. There, can you see that? We may get something. All right. Birdman just sent a text to me asking if I was going to finish before the rain. Yep, I am. Tractors are in the barn. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I did not blow off the brush cutter here. How much crap is on there? Yeah, let me go get the blower. Blow that off before all that crap gets wet and sits on there. Okay, that's got that. Whoa, up to 3/100 of an inch now. All right, and there's still some thunder, but nothing really, no heavy rain. Skies are starting to clear up that way. Hey, so back to this skid steer. To all the comments, the consensus was that it is condensation, and that was my initial thought when I saw this back when we were pushing snow, and I pulled that out based on where the sludge was on the dipstick here, and I'm thinking, condensation, because I've seen it in one of my pickup trucks where you pull that dipstick out and there's a little bit of rust around that dipstick, and that's from that condensation, I guess, just sitting there, and that tube got a little rusty. So I believe that's what it was. I never did get the oil kit from Napa. They eventually told me they couldn't get it. So when I went to get fertilizer last week, I stopped at my John Deere dealer, and they still have these oil scan kits. So I bought 2 of these oil scan kits, but I don't think I'm going to waste it on this skid steer now. This oil has been sitting, and it's better to get that oil when it's still warm and still kind of mixed up. I'll wait till the next oil change. I just checked this oil yesterday before I ran it in the field, and there is no sludge on it because I ran this last Saturday for 4 hours running that brush cutter. All right, why aren't you opening? There you go. And so we got it good and hot. And when you pull this dipstick now, there is no sludge on there. So we are good. So I think, as most commenters said, it is a condensation issue because I was running it when it was 20 degrees outside, and you know, the heat here in the motor and the cold air coming in through the fan here just caused it to condensate, and I think that's all it was. My Water level never changed, so I don't think it was a gasket problem. I think somebody mentioned water pump. I don't think that is the issue. Just condensation. So thanks to everyone that just kind of confirmed what I was thinking, but I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know. But anyway, thanks for that. All right, I'm wrapping this up. It is Thursday evening. It's almost 5 o'clock. I can't do much else around here with the rain coming in. Maybe I will take my wife down. What's going on over there? I see horses and cows running. Is that a sign of an earthquake? What was it? The elephants somewhere out in California a month ago, when that earthquake hit, all the elephants gathered around into a tight circle. So with the cows and the horses running, I think there's one horse over in that bunch with those cows. Do we have an earthquake coming? I don't know. Oh, now they're going back the other way. Maybe not. Maybe that horse has got them all excited. Maybe he's trying to cross-pollinate or something. I don't know. All right, maybe I will take my wife out to dinner tonight. Go down and sit at the bar and have a drink or two. We'll see if she wants to do that. She may not want to do that. So I'm wrapping it up, and I'm going to say, see ya!